still purpose of wearing a mask?
Okay. We had some disposable masks here, before, if I may, these are the guidelines that the health department has set up for use in the room here. We have, one, face coverings are required for everyone in the chambers, including all board members, presenters, petitioners, and members of the public. Seating in the chambers is limited. As you can see, every other seat has been blocked off. Members from the same household can sit together, but other than that, they should be observing 6 feet distancing. Additional seating is with audio is out here on the 4th floor, as well as with audio and video down in the lobby. If you are here to speak on something that has a public hearing, we will be handling all public comments from people in the chambers first, and then you can call on people in the auxiliary waiting rooms to come in, and then lastly, those calling in on the phone remotely to try to get some type of order. If you do come into the council chambers to speak, we ask that when your item is finished, and you provided your comment, please leave by the exit in the rear. These double doors are just an entrance, so that way we can minimize the amount of people in an enclosed space. And we don't have physical sign-in sheets on the podium, so that we don't have to see to minimize common touch points. There is sanitizer throughout the entire room, so after you touch surfaces of the podium, we have provided sanitizer for your staff.
Tim, let's just start, and then if we get into something that needs Andy, we can come back to it.
Well, that's what I was just waiting to see. I mean, I hadn't heard anything back from Andy.
It sounds like Mike Hammond's got things to do. Everyone's got things to do. So let's.
Should we go ahead and call our meeting to order then?
Please do.
Okay. All right. I'd like to go ahead and call our commissioner meeting order today on Tuesday, June 23rd. And so let's go ahead and we'll stand first for the Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Almighty God, we come before you today to honor you as our Creator and our Healer, and to remind ourselves of your pivotal place in our lives. We ask for your blessings on this meeting. We ask that your wisdom would guide us as we seek to accomplish the goals on today's agenda. Thank you for the opportunities you give us to serve you and to serve others. May our actions and our attitudes please you this day. We pray these things in your mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so we'll be moving on to our agenda, the reports and request forms for the commissioners, accounts payable docket. Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the accounts payable docket as outlined.
All right, I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. We'll move on. All right, then it's B, which is the bills passed by the St. Joseph County Council. Do you want to approve them all at the same time, or would you like to individually?
I'd like to discuss them separately, please.
Okay, all righty. So the first one is transfer appropriation bill number 4720 to ordinance 3920, which is determined that it is not necessary to appropriate more money than was originally appropriated in the annual budget. So that's really what it is. It's a prosecutor is requesting $18,200 total difference, and it was approved by the council. So any comments or questions about that?
Sure. Honorable Auditor or Deputy Auditor, so like 5,000 was originally budgeted, and now we're going to appropriate another 18,200. Is that correct?
Yeah,
So
he needed it more. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
No, John, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. It's it's amount for, I don't think anything was originally budgeted in that account.
No.
It's a collection agency fee that is paid out of that fund when we collect child support money. And Bob from Reisenhover and Joyce Birch from the prosecutor's office didn't think that account needed to be budgeted, but I kind of thought that it did, so I asked them to include that on as an additional appropriation this year. It's money that we receive from the state. It comes in as revenue, but we have to pay it out as an expenditure. So
Sure.
there's no net cost, but it wasn't budgeted.
So is it a dollar for dollar reimbursement, or it's like a 4D reimbursement and we get about 70%?
It's a dollar for dollar. Comes in, goes out.
Excellent, thank you. And you think it should be budgeted in the 2021 budget?
Yeah, they're going to include that in the 2021 budget, yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay, no further questions? All righty, is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
Can I make a motion to approve ordinance 3920 as outlined?
All right, I'll second that. Oh, second, all right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Madam Commissioner, I think I heard Commissioner Castelny
That's what I'm
needs to
wondering.
take over the meeting. Are you back, Andy?
Yes, that's for my tardiness, but, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Glad to hear you.
Where, it sounds like we are on, council ordinances.
Yes, uh-huh.
Would you like the Deb to continue, Andy, or do you want to take over?
Whatever makes the most sense.
Well,
She's got the file in front of her, so.
he has the copies too, so,
We're on, what ordinance was just adopted?
3920, so next is 4120.
4120, yes.
Okay. Do we want to break the two of those out, or do we want to combine the two of those in one action?
Earlier, Commissioner Fleming asked me that, and I asked that we do them separately.
Gotcha. All right. Ordinance number 4120. Are there any questions or comments?
Yes, I have a question for Madam Engineer.
Yeah, it has to do with traffic code and amending traffic regulations, so.
Good morning, Ms. Clark. Just for clarity, are these fees already in place? Who do these changes, do they target or affect somebody that wasn't affected before?
Jessica Clark, County Engineer, Department of Infrastructure Planning, Grants offices on the 7th and 11th floors. What this ordinance does is it establishes permit to establish then the actual fee for the review. It is a process that we have conducted for years, so we have done it at no cost. The majority of these type of requests involve larger size loads, excess of 80,000 pounds, and they require bridge analysis, structural analysis, things to that matter. So this is basically establishing a permit fee to recover the cost that the county invests to review these loads to make sure that the routes are utilizing roadways that are sufficient for truck traffic. And it does not, it doesn't impact other users than what is currently required through the state of Indiana. So this isn't necessarily like agricultural use. This is commercial hauling, transportation for tremendously sized loads.
Thank you. And I think we discussed this a few months ago, and I believe you added the language, section B, which shows exemptions, which shows that farmers are exempt, correct? Thank you very much. No further questions.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion?
A motion to approve ordinance 41-20.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Next up, we have Bill 4620, which became Ordinance 4220. This relates to updating the human resource policy to pay benefits for those individuals who were unable to work during the COVID-19. Any questions or comments?
Andy, if I recall correctly, we passed this previously as a resolution, and then the
Correct.
council now passed the ordinance, and now we're just
Correct.
ratifying the ordinance. Thank you.
Correct.
Right. I was glad to see this.
All right, if there are no more questions or comments, is there a motion?
Yes, a motion to approve ordinance number 40-20.
4220.
Or, sorry, 4220, my fault, yeah.
Second.
Motion is second. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item is the Health Department requests approval to spend COVID-19 funds.
Earlier, before the meeting, Commissioner Fleming and I was wondering about the mechanics of this. Should this have been a council ordinance, or are they looking for, consent from the Board of Commissioners to file a council ordinance? There's a little confusion here.
Yeah, I am too. This is Mike Hammond. They don't really need permission to spend it. And John and I can talk about where the fund is that we set up, the account for COVID in a second. But I'm wondering if they're asking, are they signing a contract with somebody? Because that would need your approval. But it seems like they're engaging in some sort of. Is anyone from the health department here?
And I would disagree with something you said, Honorable Auditor. They do need permission from the commissioners to spend money. I think you misspoke that.
No, that's not what I mean. There's the process that has been set up where there is the council approved and you approved pot of money for these folks to spend on this emergency. You already did that. So if they're asking to spend money, they already have pre-approval from you all. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. That's why I was confused.
I can understand pre-approval, but and I'll take your word for it.
Not pre-approval. You already approved $750,000 that could be spent by these departments for the COVID emergency. That's in the past. You did that. That pot of money is sitting there, and people have been spending out of it. So, so for that, you've already done it. They've already got. So with you already given it approval. So they don't need approval for a second time. It's something you already approved them to do. But my question is, are they entering into a contractual thing here, which would require your approval? And I'm very confused about what they're asking.
I agree with that.
Hey, Mike, this is John.
Yeah.
I think what I know about it is I think they're planning on a large expenditure for digitizing the health records.
Yeah. It's like $330,000. This is going to put us over the whole point is, John, and let's just because I was going to ask you the next question here. When you sent out that report, you've got, out of that $750,000, we've already spent, looks like $502,000, and then you have built in here projected new costs of $666,713.01. Did you count this as part of that, or is that going to be on that 336 that they're asking for? Is that part of that 666?
Yeah,
Right.
that is there, Mike. And the other thing to keep in mind is we've also set up a new fund for the CARES grant reimbursement.
Point of order. I think someone from the health department just came in. Might be able to clarify this request.
Yeah, go ahead.
I
want to hear from it. Just a second. I want to hear from John. Could you finish your point, then we can hear from. Yeah, no problem. This is. I'm glad someone.
No, that's just so
everybody
knows. Just so everybody knows, when we have this CARES grant and we've set up a separate fund for that. So any expenditure that's eligible for the CARES grant, we're going to move out of that account, the $750,000 appropriation, actually move those costs over to this other fund after we get reimbursement from the state. So we're not going to actually end up spending $750,000. It's going to be less than that. So I just want everybody to know the mechanics of that.
Thank you.
All right.
And just before the health department speaks, I would note there was a second page to this request from Councilor Jamie Woods that he felt this does qualify for CARES Act money because it's the expenses to improve telework capacities by the digitation of records. And without any further ado from the health department, your name and address for the record.
Amy Ruby, Finance Manager for the Department of Health, located located on the 8th and 9th floor of the County City Building. I apologize, I was on the Zoom call, and I don't believe you guys were able to hear me, so we came down as quickly as possible.
Well, good.
Under the direction of Bree and Mr. Murphy, we were told that it needed to be approved by the commissioners for us to be able to spend the money to digitize their vital records vault with our birth and death books dating back to the 1800s. So I was just instructed that it had to be approved by the commissioners and have to go on the docket. So if that's
Sure.
not correct, this was needed.
Ms. Rupi, I think that is correct, but do you have an actual contract for somebody who's going to perform these services? Or will you hire staff to do these services? How will these services be accomplished?
That is going to be done through information and records with a contract through them.
Okay, then you need to get a contract from them and present that to the Board of Commissioners.
Okay.
And you
Right.
probably, technically, because it's over $50,000, you almost have to go out for an RFP unless the commissioners want to accept an emergency because of the virus, or the doctor wants to declare an emergency because of the virus. And I'll let Jamie Woods, I know you're on board, online. Do you want to comment on whether or not we need to do an RFP on this?
I'll discuss with the health department, the urgency for this. I think that in this area of COVID, these would all be perhaps emergency type purposes that we need to have in place before the second wave. Plus, we're talking some combination of software and hardware and installation. So those are things that I'll discuss with them. But the general understanding is the way I understand this is going to be CARES Act money. These are qualified expenses as set forth by the federal regulations regarding the CARES Act. So I think by authorizing the going forward of the expenditure would be an appropriate action, and then we can work through the contract issue and certainly bring a contract back for formal approval by the commissioners at a later meeting.
Did you understand
That
that,
sounds
Ms.
great.
Rupi?
Yes, and I do have a contract, I can have that.
You do have the contract? Get it to Mr. Woods, let him review it, and he'll get it on our next agenda. And today is just a memorandum of understanding that we will probably support it once we see a contract to review. Can't review something, can't approve something we don't have.
So, Mr. Woods, do we need to take any formal action related to this right now?
I'd go ahead and approve the expenditure subject to a formal contract.
Does that motion exist?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next, infrastructure planning and growth. The consent agenda, on that, we have an irrevocable standby letter of credit action for Augustin Lakes subdivision, irrevocable letter of credit, Laurel Creek subdivisions 1, 2, 3, and 4, the 8th annual Get Wet for a Vet motorcycle ride, and we've got traffic regulatory ordinance on Birch Road from Jefferson Boulevard to McKinley Highway for no trucks, on Birch Road from Jefferson Boulevard to McKinley Highway, 30 mile per hour speed limit, and on Anderson Road from Bittersweet Road to Ash Road for no truck exclusion. Any questions or comments regarding any?
I'd like to compliment Madam Engineer and her staff for keeping up on these traffic regulations to keep the heavy truck traffic from damaging these roads and causing more headache to the residential civilian traffic on those roads, as well as complimenting her and her staff for keeping a track of these bonds and these letters of credit to cash in this one for $60,000 that otherwise the taxpayers might have to pay to fix these things that these developers have been reluctant to fix.
Any other questions or comments?
No.
There a motion?
There's a motion to approve this consent agenda.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item, request approval of additional services agreement for St. Joseph County Space Planning Project Creative Design Solutions.
Good morning, Frank Cotillo with the Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth, offices on the 7th and 11th floor. What we're asking for today is really shifting the original contract with CDS. We had professional services, and they had broken it down, some for the building on Lathrop, some for Purdue Extension, and some for the law building. The Purdue Extension law building obviously is not moving forward. However, with some COVID delays that out at the sheriff's post, as well as some other delays. That project has taken longer than originally anticipated, and we have needed more construction supervision services from our architecture firm. This does not result in any net increase to the original contract approved with CDS. It's simply shifting the balance from the other two buildings that was not utilized into the agreement for Lakefront. So we can cover their additional costs.
Any questions or comments?
Yes, I'm a little confused by what you said, Mr. Fortia. You said that there's really no change in money, yet it's right here, it says the total of this request is $26,700.
Right, but previously this board has approved a contract with CDS, and within that contract, it had $26,000 between the two other buildings that we're not going to be expending. So it's just shifting that money into being able to cover construction services at Lathrop. So it's no additional money than what's already been appropriated and approved by the board.
But Lathrop is costing, once again, another overrun of another $26,700. I've said it before and I'll say it again, the police department and the citizens of this county deserved a better solution to this issue. They deserved a brand-new building designed by a real local architectural firm that, through an RPO process, in an open and transparent manner. In the past, we've also made, in 2-to-1 votes, extensions for time regarding the continued delay of this project. In other contracts within the real world, if people don't complete a contract in time, they get fined and penalized. I can understand acts of God because of the virus, but we still should be paying another almost $30,000 for this. So once again, on what money on this project, I will be voting no.
Any other comments? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the additional services agreement for the Creative Design Solutions.
Second. We have a motion, a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Aye. Motion passes 2-to-1. Next up, request approval of change order number 3, BLD 04-2019-SA, construction and renovation of offices, Phase 1, Central Highway Garage.
Yes, Commissioners, this change order submitted by Wachowski reflects changes due to some requests by the Sheriff's Office, as well as some additional work that had to be done as they got into the project, and some things not be quite as safe.
Any questions or comments?
Yes. This is called change order number 3. Now, in the first change order for the Lathrop Central Garage project, there was probably 57 changes that were all called change order number 1. And in the previous motion, which was a change order for Lathrop, it wasn't even numbered 2, 3, or 59. So this numbering system it just seems very skewed, and another $152,000 just seems like a lot of money. And again, more bad planning, and the sheriff and the taxpayers deserved more. And again, the issue of more additional days, as mentioned earlier, has been before the commissioners again, and I don't know why we're paying for these additional days. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? I will note that part of the reason that for the increase in cost of this, because there were significant changes that were made by the current administration to make the facility better suit their need versus the previous administration. So we were trying to continue to work with the Sheriff Department so we can make this space as accommodating to them as they can. Is there a motion?
Yeah, there is a motion. Motion to approve the change order number 3.
Second. We've got a motion, a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 2-1. All right, next up, I believe, Counselor, we're okay combining these two. We've got request approval a professional service proposal, Dan Charter and Associates for Candace Drive intersection design work, and request approval of professional service proposal, Kent Schumacher, PE, Candace Drive intersection design work.
That'd be fine.
I have no objection.
Good morning, Bill Shalio, Executive Director of Economic Development for St. Joseph County, office on the 7th and the 11th floor. Before you today for professional service proposals for Dan Charter Associates and Kent Schumacher, PE. This is work related to the design of Candace Drive extension. Candace Drive is located out just east of Evergreen Drive, west of McKinley, or west of Bittersweet on McKinley. We're looking to extend the drive north of McKinley so that it can serve as a service drive for Penn schools as part of the plan that they're looking to develop, as well as for the new Penn Township Fire Station project. The proposal with Dan Charter and Associates, professional service design of this work in the amount of a not-to-exceed budget of $40,000. Commission approved that agreement on June 9th. And then the proposal with Kent Schumacher would be for a $10,000 not-to-exceed budget. And again, the commission approved that proposal at their meeting on June 9th. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Are there in fact any questions?
Yes. Mr. Shalio, will either the fire department of Penn Township or the Penn Harris Meadows School District reimburse the county for these expenses? Because I know in the past, sometimes we've done engineering services for them, and then they would reimburse us. Are they?
This is actually a component of our work as a partnership with those two agencies. So we're designing and building the drive into the site as part of the project.
And are we paying 100% of the bill?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think it's wonderful that we support other entities, and I think it's wonderful to work with other entities. But with the dire financial problems this county has, we're not in the fire service or the school service, so I can't see supporting this, these two requests for $40,000 plus $10,000, and Lord knows how many overruns there might be. So, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Yes, motion to approve these professional service proposals to Dan Charter and Associates and to Kent Schumacher.
I will second that motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 2-1, although I will join Commissioner Thomas's frustration to some extent that this is the project that we thought was also could have been helpful with relocating a highway garage as part of the campus here, and that did not work through for the other two entities. But since we committed to help with this project, I'm going to continue to do that. But I'm certainly disappointed that that was not able to be part of this. All right, next. Request approval of professional service proposal, Christopher B. Burke Engineering LLC, Jefferson Road, sidewalk for additional design services and on-call construction engineering services.
So as part of here in a couple of minutes, you're going to have a proposal to award a contract on Jefferson Boulevard for a sidewalk extension project. During the course of the design, some additional services were needed. So we've got $14,200 of additional service work that was incurred. And then we also have in here on-call construction engineering services. The county will actually be doing the project management for this project, but in the event that we have any design or any engineering needs outside of the scope of the ability of the county, we've asked for an additional $3,000 budget on this project. So we've got a total of $17,200 that we're asking for approval of this contract. Again, that $3,000 will only be billed if those services are rendered during the course of the project. The Redevelopment Commission approved this proposal at their meeting on June 9th. If there's any questions, if you have any answers.
Any questions?
Just for clarification, I think there was a typo. I think you've answered it. It's $3,000. Near the bottom of the cover page.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
$3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, Dan Horner earlier, Chris Burke now, very fine companies. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Yes, a motion to approve this professional service proposal for Christopher Bank Engineering for the Jefferson Boulevard sidewalk extension.
Which is a huge safety improvement. Thank you.
Yes, it is.
Second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion passed. Next item, request approval of professional service proposal, Lee Raker and Braun LLP Environmental Legal Services. Counselor.
Yeah, so this is a agreement whereby the Plough Shadley Law Firm would provide some general environmental services and to the Redevelopment Commission on matters as they would arise. At the request of the Redevelopment Commission, the initial fee shall not exceed $10,000.
Any questions or comments?
Yes, Counselor, is this a local law firm?
Yep, Plough Shadley has an office over off Edison Road by, was that Generations Drive up there? So they're a staff law firm here in St. Joseph County. I've worked with them before at Transpo. They did a fine job assisting Transpo and my firm in working through some issues regarding the disposition of the north side property that is now the very successful development up there. I know the city of South Bend has used them on environmental matters related to the Studebaker corridor and working to recover monies from insurers and sub-insurers there. So Dan Corey and the firm at Plough Shadley are environmental experts, and they do have an office here locally.
Thank you. Glad you're supporting local businesses. I was not in favor of the purchase, but obviously if we've got environmental issues, we have to address them, so thank you.
Any other questions? Is there a motion?
Yes, a motion to approve the professional service proposal for Plough Shadley, Racher, and Braun LLP for the environmental legal services.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Next, request approval of professional service agreement, Marsh. Additional services, State Road 933 corridor study.
So over the last couple of years, we've been working with Marsh to put together a corridor study for the State Road 933 area from Angela all the way up to the state line. As we've continued to work through that master planning, we have done a lot of work. What we have before you today is a proposal extension to extend the work that they're doing in the amount of $35,000. That'll close out the project budget. We also have an amount here for an additional scope of $15,000. If in the event we determine that we need legal services or legal design services and legal drafting of documents related to a legal description for a development area over this corridor area. So the total proposal budget would be $50,000. This money is coming out of the Healthland account, money that the council had appropriated a couple of years ago, and so this is within the scope of that original request of council. So Redevelopment Commission approved this at their meeting on June 9th. Any questions, I would be happy to answer.
Are there in fact any questions?
I'd comment that I know Avon Marsh is a fine local company, and this is a very important project for the future of 933 and that whole region of the county.
Yeah, heading north.
If there are no more questions, is there a motion?
Yes, a motion to approve the professional service agreement with Adden Marsh.
Second.
Okay, go ahead now.
Second.
Motion
Alrighty.
second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Next, request approval of bid award RNS 92002 Jefferson Boulevard Sidewalk Extension.
Good morning again. Jessica Clark, County Engineer's Office of the Infrastructure Planning Areas on the 7th and 11th floors. The first request for us today is the bid award for the Jefferson Boulevard Sidewalk Extension. We received the bids and read them aloud on Tuesday, June 9th. We closed the tabulation for your review and recommend the board award the project to Reed Riley in the amount of $154,400, and funds for this project are available within the Capitol Avenue Economic Development Area.
Any questions or comments?
Yes, just for the Capitol Avenue Economic Development, that's TIF money, correct? And what close bids, within $600, these two bids, over $150,000 to be within $600, that's pretty darn close. Thank you, Ms. Clark.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Yes, there's a motion to approve the bid award to the Jefferson Boulevard Sidewalk Extension to Reith Riley Construction.
Second.
Motion is second. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item, request approval of bid award STW 92001B, Bendix Woods Stormwater Management.
Yep, we opened and read a lot of bids on Tuesday, June 9th. We received, we had 6 bids. We did have one bidder, just to call your attention, Woodruff and Sons did submit their bid on time. It was delivered upstairs. We just did not have it at the meeting to be read at the time. And then also, we did have one change, the TGD Unlimited bid. It was read at $689, $919.55, and the actual bid amount based on their calculation was $779,919.55. I just wanted to correct the record on those 2 bids. At this time, we do recommend that the board award the project to HRP Construction in the contract amount of $661,000, and funds for this project are available in the New Carlisle Economic Development Area, which are going to fund it.
Any questions or comments?
Yes, do you think this will solve the stormwater problems at Bendix Woods and probably Navistar next door? Or will there be more overruns? Because I think we've already spent approximately $140,000 on this project, or flooding in the area. So
this is the project that does design retention and the necessary water work to address runoff that comes off of the Bendix Woods site through that property into the regular.
So this will construct all that and hopefully cover all this, and we won't see a lot more bills coming this way for this issue. Thank you. And is Navistar reimbursing us anything?
This project is being funded through the redevelopment commission.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion?
A motion to approve this bid award for the Bendix Woods Stormwater Management to HRP Construction.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, request approval of bid award revised RNS 92001D Maintenance Asphalt Overlay Program, Lathrop Parking Lot.
Yes, we originally awarded this project on May 6th to Walsh and Kelly. They have declined to complete this project, and we are able to then award for the bidder, which was Reith Riley, in the amount of $157,400.50. So we would recommend the board accept Reith Riley's bid to complete the Sheriff Depot parking area.
Any questions or comments?
Yes, I have been reluctant to approve Lathrop expenses, and this will be one of them.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, motion.
Yes, a motion to approve this bid award for the Maintenance Asphalt Overlay Program on the Latham Parking Lot to Reith Riley Construction for the Sheriff Depot parking area.
We have a motion second. Second. Now we have a motion in a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, request approval of engagement of legal services for the St. Joseph County Floodplain Home Buyout Program. Counselor.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Castelli. You should have in front of you the proposed engagement of the law firm of Thorne Gradnick LLP to provide legal services regarding the FEMA project involving 22 properties. You'll note there are 2 grants, one dealing with the FEMA pre-disaster mitigation grant and the hazard mitigation grant. The first grant involves 17 properties and the second 5. My firm would provide general legal services and legal description and exhibit drafting for all 22 of the parcels. The amounts and rates set forth in my letter, as I understand it, are reimbursable by FEMA, and the rates that we're charging, the amounts that we're charging are prescribed by FEMA. So that's where those numbers come from. They're set forth by the terms of the grant. So that's how we derive those numbers. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there in fact any questions or comments?
Yes, I'd like to thank Thorne and Grondyke for their work. The flooding was how many years ago, Counselor?
August 2015.
Yeah, and there's so 5 years later, and so you've already been doing all this work to get to this stage. So thank you for putting up with the county for 5 years on this matter.
Well, the county commissioners and council should be recognized the fact that when the flooding occurred, they were very proactive in working with engineers and the county engineer and design professionals to determine what caused it, how to remediate it so it doesn't happen again, and getting to this solution. And instead of trying to be partners with the folks in Joel Woods and their legal counsel at that time, just trying to work through all these issues collaboratively for the benefit of the citizens. So that was a great tactic the commissioners used to work through all these issues.
Yes, certainly. Our engineering department was very hardworking. Our highway department was exceptionally hardworking, cleaning up debris and getting dumpsters out there. Our EMA department, Jim Lopez, there was a lot of people that worked very hard to help solve the suffering of the people in Jewel Woods. Thank you.
Well, there were a lot of volunteers that came in too for that, which was very appreciated.
Yeah, a lot of volunteers.
Yeah.
If there are no more questions or comments, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the legal services for St. Joseph County Floodplain Home Buyout Program to Thorne Grodnick.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. I believe we can have we can combine the next two items. Request approval of appraisal services agreement for the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program for the St. Joseph County Floodplain Home Buyout Program, and request approval of appraisal services agreement for the FEMA Pre-Disaster Mitigation Grant Program for the St. Joseph County Floodplain Home Buyout Program.
Well said. So both of these are a continuation of the FEMA program. As part of this, we do need to hire independent appraisers, properties for us to then purchase. So these are the requests to approve Appraisal Services, Inc. and Irish and Peak Row based on the prices they submitted at $395 per parcel and $400 per parcel respectively. And we request your approval for each set of these grants for these appraisals.
Any questions or comments?
I think that the appraisal prices are very adequate, and they seem a lot lower than the ones we see from the IEC in the New Carlisle area. About a month.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, motion is in order.
Motion to approve these appraisal service agreements.
Second.
Motion second. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, request approval of bridge number 197, rehabilitation on Mayflower Road over Norfolk Southern and the Railroad, description number 1902817, local bridge federal aid fund, and request approval of bridge number 6, rehabilitation on Mayflower Road over the Ardmore Trail, local project engineering services selection.
I'll try to make the title longer next time. And these two are, we received the proposals on April 21st, and we are recommending that the board accept the proposal from DLZ for both structures 197 and 196. 197 is a federal aid project, and the services are 80% reimbursable. Structure 196 is a 100% locally funded project. However, both of them will be designed concurrently and constructed concurrently, and so there is benefit to have the same engineering team to complete these designs for efficiency and schedule.
Any questions?
Yeah, I would concur with Madam Engineer. It is important that the same engineering firm do both bridges because they are immediately connected. Most people think it's one bridge with two spans, but technically it is two different bridges. And there is always a historic flooding, drainage problem on the northeast section of Bridge 196 regarding all the homes there and that dead-end street that runs parallel to Bridge 196. So thank you, Madam Engineer, for getting this forward.
Any other questions, comments? Jessica, did you give the recommendation of the firm to do the work?
DLZ, yeah.
Okay, I did not hear it, so I want to make sure that it was. All right, if there are no more questions or comments, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the rehabilitation for Mayflower Road for bridge number 196, 197 to DLZ.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Finally, request for proposals, 2020 St. Joseph County Limited Leaf Pickup Program.
And for your consideration is a request to advertise to receive letters of interest for this program, to advertise on Friday, June 26th and Friday, June 3rd, and open the letters of interest on Tuesday, July 14th. The timing of these requests are based on the Leaf Task Force Committee that has been meeting over the last month, our ability to then meet with the council to get their continued input and feedback, as well as the board commissioners on the draft proposal that I am finalizing and will be sending out. So we'll actually advertise once that's been reviewed and commented on next Friday.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah, Madam Engineer, we've already done, correct me if I'm forgetting, we did an RFP for leaf pickup earlier this year, correct?
Correct.
And the commissioners rejected it.
Correct.
And the council apparently had no interest in it at the time, or it was in the newspapers. Thank you. And it just seems that with, again, the dire financial straits this county is in, the last thing we can afford is to spend money on a leaf pickup that doesn't serve that many of our residents that well at all. And again, we're still waiting to see a proposal of what actually the target is going to be. I've seen a map and some ideas.
Right.
But either way, just as there was not enough voting centers throughout the county, this LEAF program doesn't serve the county very well either. Thank you. So I'll be voting against this RFP.
Well, again, it's, what we're trying to do is just see what the committee has recommended and see how we can best help a lot of the citizens in our community, because again, we can't afford to do everything like we've done in the past, but how can we help the more important areas? So that's what we want to kind of see, and that's what the committee came up for, the recommendation. So I'm glad that the committee is moving forward with at least coming up with a recommendation, then we'll see what the price is and see if we can move forward. If not, then we can't, but at least we're trying to help our citizens, which is a good thing, so.
Yeah, you said in the more important areas.
Well, more important, but the biggest areas of the leaf. I mean, there's areas that don't have any leaves, but there's areas that have a lot of leaves. So those are the important areas, because again, I don't want to have leaf burning and cause other health issues and stuff for people. So that's what the committee had wanted to do too. So they were concerned about that.
If someone buys a house with a lot of leaves, that's the responsibility they accept when they buy their house. So, you know, if there's going to be a limited leaf program, it's only going to subsidize the rich and the wealthy at the expense of the poor and regular middle-class taxpayer. That's just wrong.
The problem is a lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people don't have the money to afford to be able to do that. So maybe we as a county could help. And there is a possibility, because I've talked with the state, that we could possibly get reimbursed then in the future if the Congress goes ahead and passes, because we can't do it now. But I've been looking forward to see how we can maybe get reimbursed for COVID. So anyway,
Yeah.
I just want to see, you know, what
And
we can.
there's truth to that, and all the studies show that the less affluent people are the ones who have lost their jobs, not the more affluent people who might have more affluent homes, more affluent savings, more affluent jobs that where they could socially network from home, as opposed to the poor people. You know, this isn't like South Bend where they actually charge a tax on everybody.
Right.
This is tax money paid by every county citizen, and so every county citizen should fare as equally as possible.
Yeah, but it's not specifically leaf pickup taxes. It's just economic development taxes.
No, it's not economic development. It's regular money. It's regular property tax money, or income tax money, which is going to be significantly reduced because of the pandemic, the 40 million Americans without jobs, factories closing. 25% of our restaurants are projected not to reopen.
Oh, I know.
I mean, we've got the motor vehicle reports in the other day, how low our fuel taxes are coming in. So we're going to have severe financial and
That's
budget
true.
problems. So to spend any money on this does not seem to make any sense. And then to basically make sure you're only spending it on the more wealthier people in our affluent society
No.
seems to actually just ignore
It's
what's
not
been going on in this nation for the last 3 weeks.
No. Anyway, we're.
I will chime in a bit, saying that that this is nothing is being done to the more or less affluent areas. It is the more leaf dense areas. And there are folks from across all demographic backgrounds and all economic backgrounds that would participate in this. So it is purely where the leaves are the most dense, because that's where the issue is. Much like when it snows, we allocate resources to where the snow is. So that's been a common policy that we've had. And once again, we are in very dire financial circumstances, but there's no guarantee that because we move forward with this proposal that we are going to spend the money for the program. But at least it would be good to know what the dollar amount is and what the different options are. And that's part of what this proposal will accomplish as well, is to see some different options and what the prices would be, and then a decision needs to be made.
Right, that's true.
Is there a
How
motion?
we can help. Yeah, there's a motion to approve this request for proposals for the leaf pickup program.
I will second that. We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. And I will also note that in my 10 years as serving as county commissioner, I have not received as many emails, phone calls, text messages, reach out, point of contact from citizens as I have for those individuals asking us to do something with leaves. So it has been it's been an overwhelming response to that, which I think is another reason why we're looking at this. All right, moving on to old business. Infrastructure and growth, request approval of demolition services, New Carlisle EDA, Christopher B. Burke Engineering LLC. Is there a motion to remove this from the table?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is on the table.
On June 9th, the Redevelopment Commission approved this proposal that's before you today to begin a demolition process for 5 houses and a trailer park located generally in the New Carlisle area, New Carlisle Economic Development area. Proposal before you today from Christopher B. Burke Engineering will do the demolition packages related to the 2 groups of properties. It will also handle all of the procedures through the quoting process, and then also provide oversight during the demolition. It is anticipated the project will be quoted in July, and all work should be completed by summer of 2020. Total fee for this scope of work is a not to exceed amount of $33,000. Any questions I would be happy to answer?
Are there in fact questions?
Yes. In the past, it was going to be done in 2 sections, and there's 4 of the properties. But now it's all 6 properties for $33,000?
Actually, before it was all 6 properties, and it was a group 1 and a group 2. They're going to be quoted at the same time. They're being quoted as they're similar geography. So all of the group 1 properties are reasonably adjacent to each other, and group 2 properties are adjacent to each other. So they're going to be quoted separately as we move forward.
So it's all 6 properties for $33,000, not to exceed. And the reason this was tabled was because in the past, I questioned that the building department did this internally for free, so I can't understand why we would pay an engineering firm to do something that we do in-house for free. So
At your request, I did talk to Commissioner Bulow. He said that this would be outside of the scope of work that he would be comfortable doing, and so he suggested that this was a reasonable and adequate proposal. In addition, because this covers demolition services, it was a comprehensive package he felt it was worth supporting.
So you're saying this includes the actual physical demolition?
No, the oversight services through the demolition project. So we're going to have to quote this out for the work, and then they will provide the oversight as we do demolition.
See, and from everything you've explained, I don't see how that differs from everything the building department has done in-house for free in the past.
They don't want to do it.
I can understand them not wanting to do it, okay? But I certainly wouldn't pay for something that I could get done free, whether somebody who wants to do it. A lot of people, when they work for somebody, have to do things they maybe don't enjoy.
Well, I appreciate that, but
You know?
that was the response I was given.
Okay, so, 1, I will not support it for that reason alone. Second, I will not support it because this is IEC expenditures, which I've never supported. And as noted, we're going to pay $33,000 or something that I think should be, and others think should be done in-house for free, but there will be all these additional demolition costs later. And then you were very kind enough a few weeks ago to give me some review some backup data on these properties. So I think we paid like $1.3 million for these properties, is that correct?
I have to go back over the numbers. But-
Okay. And so some of that was based on these houses and the value of these houses.
Correct.
So we're gonna take a house that we paid several thousands of dollars for, and if, you know, and certainly in the $1.3 million, some of it was that, obviously land, but some of it was structure. So we paid people for a house worth of, you know, say, a couple of houses over several $1,000s to just tear them down and destroy them and throw more money, to contract for demolition, then contract for demolition, and then we're gonna be left with just land. And it seems the value of those houses could be recycled somehow, moved somewhere. So just again, just throwing good money after bad from my point of view, when the county, again, could use this money in other ways. So, I was against the original purchase of this. I'm certainly not gonna be for the demolition. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the demolition services in the New Carlisle EDA.
Second. Got a motion. Second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passed. All right, now we move on to public comments. Are there any public comments?
This is Haj Patel at 103 South Esther Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46617. As the county is looking at the leaf pickup, my suggestion would be to try and model a program that is similar to what South Bend and Mishawaka do with the sidewalk program, in that those communities help offset the cost of sidewalks. The county should look at doing something similar with the leaf pickup program, where vendors would be pre-approved and they have to be within St. Joseph County to pick up leaves, and then individual homeowners would pay for the cost of that leaf pickup and then submit the expense to the county, not at 100%, but at a modest rate. And those individuals would be then reimbursed provided they use local contractors. So that is my suggestion as the county is looking at a potential option for the leaf pickup program. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other public comments? Hearing none, a motion to recess is in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Tough luck. We are recessed. Have
Thank
good days,
you.
folks.
Have a great day. Take care, Andy.
Marie?